This story about Disney is nuts. It's about a place called Disney Springs. If you're not initiated, Disney Springs shopping area. We've all been, right? Everybody's been to Disney Springs.
Good time.
We've all been at some point in time. This is the place in question here. It's called Raglan Road.
Been there plenty of times.
Not
Been
familiar.
there forever. You haven't been to this place?
The Irish bar.
Yeah, it's the Irish bar in Disney Springs that's there. This is kind of a strange shot of it because there's a huge courtyard where people are usually playing Irish music live. And there's a big lawsuit.
Yeah, I witnessed somebody ask for "Bitch" by Alanis Morissette in that very
They
same
won't
courtyard.
do that, right? The Disney territory.
Oh,
I don't know
no,
if they would do
I
that.
think they would do it. It was just the fact that Alanis Morissette doesn't sing that song.
No.
So here's what happened. Okay, there was somebody who went to this Raglan Road not to hear Meredith. What is it?
Brooks.
Meredith
Brooks,
Brooks sing bitch, but to get something to eat, and they had an allergic reaction, and get this, died. Right.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
this lawsuit has been out there for a little while. What's crazy is Disney's response this week. Disney's response to this is mind-blowing, and it could impact you. I'll get to that in just a moment. First, here's the original lawsuit. Okay, this says, facts giving rise to the allegations. On or about the evening of October 5th, 2023, I'm going to do best on these names, Kanakporn Tung Swan and her spouse Jeffrey Piccolo, and Jeffrey Piccolo's mother, Jackie Piccolo, the three of them entered Raglan Road, this Irish restaurant within Disney Springs, for dinner. And it says, Tong Swan and Piccolo chose to eat at Raglan Roads in Disney Springs because they believed Disney would have proper safeguards to protect patrons such as Tong Swan from food allergens. This belief was based upon representations made by Disney and Raglan Road. Now, one thing I will say, Disney almost always, from my experience, they're like, do you have any food allergies? You know, so many places do this now. Do you have any food allergies? They'll ask you about this. So in my experience, they generally do that. This person was, I believe, a doctor who this happened to. Right? And Disney's response in just a moment here. At All Times Material, Tang Swan was a medical doctor at NYU in New York and knew she had a severe allergy to dairy and nuts. Tang Swan and her family were seated at Raglan Road restaurant in Disney Springs. When the waiter came over to the table, Tang Swan and her husband Piccolo advised the waiter she had severe food allergies and required allergen-free food. Then they started questioning about the menu like you might. You're looking at the items, you're like, does this have any sort of allergens, blah, 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 blah. So they picked their meals and they ordered. They were assured that it was allergen-free. They were good to go. I love how they mention it in here. Tang Swan says, the waiter guaranteed that the Sure I'm Frittered meal, the Scallop Forest, the This Shepherd Went Vegan, and the onion rings were all good to go. No problems at all. So the server comes back with their meal and puts it down in front of them. And this Tang Swan guy, after they leave, he has a severe allergic reaction to the food that was served at Raglan Road. He collapses to the floor. He self-administers with an EpiPen, but it's not enough.
Really?
He gets rushed to the hospital, and he's in really bad shape. Then it says Jeffrey Piccolo is later informed his beloved wife, Tang Swan, had died. So this woman, had died as a result of all of this. So there's the story in a nutshell, and it's pretty crazy to think about that you have somebody who goes to this Irish restaurant. They are very worried about the allergens, or so they say. They make it clear that there's a severe allergy at the table. They get served food that they're sworn is okay, and then it's not. The person dies, and they sue Disney as a result. Here we go. Disney's reaction is, you can't sue us.
Why?
Here's why. Here's the court documents from Disney, and I want everybody to tell me what you think about this. This says, in February 2024, Piccolo filed this action alleging that the decedent suffered an allergic reaction while dining at Raglan Road, okay? And they go over the menu and all the stuff on there, blah, blah, blah. Then they say, in November 2019, Piccolo initially created a Disney account through the Disney Plus website.
Oh,
Piccolo,
my God.
Terms and conditions?
Piccolo completed the registration web form by providing personal information, including his email address, and created a password.
Dude.
Immediately above, with a disclosure notifying Piccolo that by clicking agree, you agree to our subscriber agreement. In that subscriber agreement, there is an arbitration provision that says anybody who is a subscriber to Disney Plus cannot sue Disney. They have to go through arbitration with the company.
Please.
As opposed to a lawsuit.
Oh, come on.
How wild is
Not
that?
magical, bros.
How so everybody who and this is true if you just sign up for a trial. If you've just that's me too. If
That
you
is bold.
yeah, and they also pointed
It's also
out that
heartless.
it seems crazy to me. They also pointed out that he had purchased a ticket to Epcot prior, and that perhaps that did the same thing, where because you bought a ticket to one of the theme parks or because you signed up for Disney Plus, you can't sue the company, even if you died of an allergy attack after going to one of the restaurants.
Now, Sean, nobody dies at Disney.
In this case, you're right. They brought him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. But I want everybody to think about that. If you signed up for this, if you've been on a trial, if you bought any tickets or whatever, you have subscribed to this binding arbitration provision and says that you are waiving from a class action lawsuit, number one, and you must resolve your differences. It says right here, by individual binding arbitration is what it says. And when you create a Disney Plus or ESPN Plus account, you also agree to Walt Disney Company's terms of use, which is the same binding arbitration and class action waiver is in there. That is crazy to me. And this is an interesting
sad.
move.
And
yeah.
sad.
Like this guy died. I mean, he died at
His
the
wife,
place.
right?
Yeah, his wife died. I'm sorry. Excuse me. The doctor, his wife died at this Irish restaurant. And when I think about these kind of lawsuits, sometimes they can be frivolous and stuff. But for real, if you go into a restaurant, let's say Fritz goes into a restaurant and Fritz says, I have a severe peanut allergy.
Yeah. No peanuts.
And the waiter goes, okay, Mr. Fritz, we're going to make sure that you get something off the menu that won't bother you. And Fritz goes, I'm a vegetarian, so I'd like this. And they go, that's fine. No allergens in that item. Fritz expects their expertise to be correct, purchases that item, and then has an allergic reaction because they were wrong. I think
Tell
it's
me there's
fair.
an attorney that has said otherwise or is challenging this.
They are challenging
Ron
it,
DeSantis.
yes. They are absolutely positively challenging this. But what do you think? Does this seem fair to you? That is my big question for you today.